is recognized for his 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Horowitz, I'm going to kind of pick up where Mr. Heiss left off. He was asking you about the fact that Comey had been referred criminally by your report, and that's correct?
That's correct.
You also referred Andy McCabe for federal prosecution. Is that correct?
We made the same referral pursuant to the IG Act as with Mr. Comey, as we do whenever that provision applies.
And that's a criminal referral?
That's as the IG Act requires us to do, yes.
And so was McCabe the acting director when you referred him?
I'm not going to get into the precise timing, actually, of it, but the answer would be no, because, actually I can say that but by the time the issue came to be, it was after August 1st, which is, I think, the August 1st of 2017, which is, I think, the date of Director Wray's installation.
Okay, and why did you refer him for criminal prosecution, McCabe? Why was he referred?
We made as the public report, I'll stick to what's public, the public report, we found a lack of candor, which means we didn't find that he provided us truthful information, and when we made a determination under Section 4 of the IG Act that we thought that it occurred, we were required by the law to report it expeditiously to the Attorney General.
So in other words, he lied. I mean, you say lack of candor.
We make a lack of candor finding. I'm going to defer to the prosecutors. In a report last year, we criticized the FBI director for usurping the authority of the Attorney General to make prosecutorial decisions. I'm not going to do that today.
Okay, and you also found that McCabe failed to safeguard FBI information, is that correct?
Well, what we found was, just to be clear, that he had provided information to, or authorized an employee to provide information to a reporter that was FBI information.
So we have two heads of the FBI, one director, one acting director, we think close around to the timeline, both referred for criminal prosecution. Is that, I'm saying that correct?
Pursuant to the IG Act, we made referrals in both instances.
So I want to point out how profound that is for those sitting at home and for the American people, that we have two back-to-back heads of the FBI, both referred for criminal prosecution. Both of these heads of the FBI failed to safeguard sensitive FBI information. Is that correct?
In both instances, they disclosed to reporters information that was protected FBI information, sensitive law enforcement.
And I want to move quickly to the latest report on Comey, and I'm going to just read from page 52. Mm-hmm. In this analysis section, we address whether Comey's actions violated department and FBI policies or the terms of Comey's FBI employment agreement. We determined that several of his actions did. We conclude that the memos were official FBI records rather than Comey's personal documents. Accordingly, after his removal as director, Comey violated applicable policies and his employment agreement by failing to either surrender his copies of memos 2, 4, 6, and 7 to the FBI or seek authorization to retain them, by releasing official FBI information records to third parties without authorization, and by failing to immediately alert the FBI about his disclosures to his personal attorneys once he became aware in June of 2017 that Memo 2 contained words that were classified at the confidential level. Did I read that accurately?
I don't have it in front of me, but it certainly sounds like that's accurate.
You've previously faulted the FBI director in your report of last year. In your report on Comey's memos, you wrote, "We have previously faulted Comey for acting unilaterally and inconsistent with department policy." That was the Clinton email IG report.
Correct.
In your report on the FBI's investigation of the Clinton emails, you wrote, and quote, "We found that it was extraordinary and insubordinate for Comey to conceal his intentions from his superiors, the Attorney General and Deputy Attorney General, for the admitted purpose of preventing them from telling him not to make the statement and to instruct his subordinates in the FBI to do the same." Is that correct?
Yeah, I don't have the language in front of me, but
it's
I certainly recall that general language.
It's Clinton email IG report, page 241. You use the words extraordinary and insubordinate. You're not exactly someone who would make such bold characterizations. In that case, you found his misconduct merited these conclusions?
Yes.
You found Comey's conduct this year just as troubling, correct?
We found it troubling. I'm not going to make a relative judgment as to which was.
Well, you wrote, and I quote, "Comey's unauthorized disclosure of sensitive law enforcement information about the Flynn investigation merits similar criticism." Page 61, Comey memo report.
Correct. Merits similar criticism. Agreed.
I want to thank you for your time here today, and I just think it's beholden on the American people that they get to read this information and it becomes public.
I thank the gentleman, and perfect timing.
I
Congratulations.
tried to wrap it up there.
You
right
did
at
it
the
perfectly.